In this tutorial we're going to have a look at how we manage images from photos. So I've opened up Photoshop. I have an empty work area and the image I want to work with is in this folder in a JPeg format. I've actually pre-pixelated a face here to make sure that this person isn't identifiable. We will look at how to do that at a future point. Now the first thing you probably notice in the layers panel is that this item has come in as a background. So if you drag a photograph into, or JPeg image into an empty canvas, it automatically comes in as a background. If you already have a Photoshop file open and you do the same process, you can see here that it comes in a slightly different way. It's come in as with the title of the JPeg. It's also come in with this boundary box for resizing. So if I was to press Shift and hold that down and left click, I can resize that to work the way I want to. We can't do much else with that until we've pressed Enter. Now I'm just going to hide that version and look at how we deal with this background version. Notice that I've selected the background version by clicking on it so it's blue. If it goes in as background, it does limit some of the things that we can do with it. So I'm going to double click on background. I'll turn it into a layer rather than a background. So I should call it runner 1. I'm not going to change anything else here, and click OK. So now it's a normal layer where we can do lots of different things. The only difference between these two layers you may notice on the one that we dragged in second, it has this little black and white icon at the bottom right. That means it's something called a smart image. Now if I go back to this runner 1 standard layer now and right click, we can see we have a range of options now. This depends whether we right click on the picture or on the text area. If I right click on here, notice a lot more of these are open. So this is the one with the icon, the smart layer. What I'm going to do is a Rasterizer Layer. Notice the smart object has gone and it will now work in the same way. We will have a look at smart objects in another different tutorial and look at the advantages of maintaining them as a smart object. So essentially we've got the same image, so I don't need both of those. So I'm going to left click and drag that top one down to the bin. So here's our photo. Now we are in a position to make adjustments to it. It's always useful to create duplicates of your original image before you edit them. So if you do something that you don't like, if you've too far into your process to use the history, you've got the original to go back to. There's several ways to do this. One quick way is to left click and drag down to the new layer icon. We can now see we've got runner 1 and runner copy. I'm going to turn the bottom one off, make sure the top one's highlighted, then go into this image area. I'm not going to show you everything, just a few of the things that you can do, most of which are under adjustments. It's probably a good idea to click on each of these and have a go at manipulating. It's always useful to make sure preview is highlighted so you can actually see the effects of what you are doing. So if I drag brightness up, contrast, we can see that we're doing quite a few things already. If I turn preview off, it will take us back to how it originally looked so we can look at the changes that we've made. If I'm happy with those changes, I can click OK, or I can click cancel. Image adjustments. A couple which are worth looking at are hue and saturation. Again, I'll make sure preview's there. Saturation increases how bright the colours or how low the colours come through, which is quite an interesting effect. If I want to get it back to normal, I can just type in 0 from the keyboard. And hue actually cycles through ranges of colours, so for doing quite abstract things, pop art things, sometimes that's quite useful. Again, I will type in 0 there. And lightness, does what it says. So again, you might decide you want to create a much darker image, mixing all those together, and then you can preview the changes that you've made. The colour balance menu is a useful one to do. A couple of things to watch out for. If I increase red and green, that actually creates a kind of a yellow. We've also got yellow in this area here. When you've got some menus, you can focus on either darker areas called shadows, midtones, or highlights, which would be the lighter areas. So if I put all those values back to 0 and say only work on highlights, it is mainly the lighter area of the pictures which change. So notice this white area gets a lot more red in it than say these blues over here. So have a play with image and adjustments and some of those menus in here up to photo filter, from brightness to photo filter. A lot of these start to get a bit more complex and will be dealt with in a different tutorial.